My husband insulted me in front of his mistress, so I let her know who pays the bills. Hello family, welcome back. Please do well to subscribe, and let's know where you are watching the story from in the comment section. The restaurant was buzzing with Friday night chatter, the kind of place where people laughed too loud and glasses clinked like music. Couples leaned close over candlelight, waiters floated by with trays, and the smell of steak and garlic bread filled the air. Samantha adjusted her napkin in her lap, forcing herself to smile at her husband, Michael. He was dressed sharp tonight, his navy suit pressed, his tie just loose enough to suggest confidence. She had been looking forward to this evening. Things had been tense at home, but she hoped maybe dinner out could soften the distance between them. At least, that's what she thought. Because just when she started to believe this could be a quiet night, a woman's voice cut through the noise. "Michael," the woman said, smooth as silk. Samantha's head turned, and there she was. A tall woman with dark hair flowing like she'd just walked out of a commercial. She wore a tight red dress that made heads turn. Without asking, without even glancing at Samantha, she slid right into the seat next to Michael like she belonged there. Samantha blinked, her smile faltering. "I'm sorry. Who is this?" she asked, her voice calm but trembling just beneath the surface. Michael leaned back in his chair, smirking as if this was all some kind of joke. "Oh, this is Jessica," he said casually. "She's a friend." Jessica tilted her head, smirking too, and crossed her legs slowly. "More than a friend, really," she said, brushing her manicured hand against Michael's arm. The room didn't just feel loud anymore, it felt cruel. Samantha's stomach dropped, her heart hammering in her chest. She waited for Michael to correct Jessica, to deny it, to at least have the decency to explain. But he didn't. Instead, Michael leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table like a man proud of himself. "Sam, maybe if you dressed like Jessica, maybe if you took care of yourself a little more, I wouldn't have to look elsewhere." The words hit like a slap. The couple at the next table froze mid-conversation, forks halfway to their mouths. A waiter stopped walking for just a moment, then hurried past as if he hadn't heard anything. Samantha's face burned hot, and she could feel the weight of eyes on her. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She wanted to scream, to throw the glass of water across the table, to ask Michael how he dared humiliate her in public. But she couldn't. Not here. Not in front of strangers. Not when Jessica was sitting there with that smug little smile. So she did something else. She forced her trembling lips into a faint, controlled smile. "Well," she said softly, her voice steadying as she spoke. "That's interesting." Michael frowned, maybe expecting her to cry, to storm out, to beg him not to leave. But Samantha didn't give him the satisfaction. Jessica leaned closer, as if twisting the knife. "You really don't mind me being here, Samantha?" Samantha turned her head slowly toward her. For a moment, her eyes softened, almost kind. But underneath, they were sharp as glass. "Why would I mind?" she said evenly. "After all, it must take a lot of confidence to show up uninvited to a dinner with a married man." Jessica shifted slightly in her chair. The confidence didn't fade, but the smirk faltered just a bit. Michael chuckled, trying to break the tension. "Sam, don't be bitter. It's just honesty. You should thank me for being up front." Samantha set her fork down gently, the sound of metal against porcelain sharp in the air. She tilted her head, studying her husband like he was a stranger. "Honesty," she repeated slowly. "That's what you call it?" Michael shrugged, leaning back as if he'd won something. "Better than lying about it. At least now you know." The anger inside her boiled, but Samantha kept her face smooth. She had spent years learning how to control her emotions, through arguments, through disappointments, through nights alone while Michael claimed to be at business meetings. She had learned patience, and patience, she knew, was power. So she picked up her water glass, took a slow sip, and said with the faintest smile, "Well, thank you for being honest, Michael. I'll remember this." The way she said it made Michael's smirk twitch just a little. But Jessica didn't notice. She was too busy tossing her hair, pretending to own the night. Samantha's mind, however, was already racing. Michael thought he had the upper hand. He thought he was in control because he embarrassed her in public. He thought she was weak. But Michael had forgotten something important. He had forgotten who paid the bills. Samantha's job, her inheritance, her careful planning. Everything about their life was funded by her. The mortgage, the luxury cars, the clothes Michael wore, the very dinner they were eating now. It was all her money. And soon, Jessica would know it. The dinner dragged on, but Samantha barely tasted the food. Michael and Jessica laughed together, their hands brushing, their voices mingling like they were the stars of their own play. But Samantha sat back, quiet, her smile never leaving her face. The more Michael showed off, the calmer she grew. She didn't interrupt, didn't argue, didn't fight, because she already knew the loudest person at the table is usually the weakest. When the check finally came, the waiter placed it neatly in the center of the table. Michael didn't reach for it. He never did. Jessica looked at Samantha expectantly, as though waiting for her to pull out her wallet like a dutiful wife. And Samantha did. She paid, without flinching, without comment. But this time, when she signed the receipt, she added a little note at the bottom, just for herself. This is the last time. The walk out of the restaurant felt heavy. Michael swaggered ahead, his arm casually brushing Jessica's. Samantha trailed behind, her heels clicking softly against the tile. People stared as they left, whispering to themselves, pity or judgment flickering in their eyes. Samantha didn't care. Not anymore. By the time they reached the parking lot, she had already decided what she would do next. She wouldn't scream. She wouldn't beg. She wouldn't even confront Michael tonight. No, she would take her time. She would be patient. And when she was ready, she would remind Jessica exactly whose money she had been enjoying all along. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give future to children and women abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing to hitting the subscribe button and turning on your notification bell. Also, let us know in the comments where you are watching us from and how this story hit home for you. Morning came fast and bright, the kind of Los Angeles sunshine that made everything look clean even when it wasn't. Samantha stood at the kitchen counter in her quiet house, watching the coffee drip into the pot. The machine hummed, the fridge clicked. The clock on the wall said 7:12 a.m. Michael was still asleep in the guest room. He had slunk there after they got home, no apology, no real conversation, just a shrug and a door closing. The distance felt like a canyon. Samantha pulled out her phone. Her fingers didn't shake. They were steady now. Calm. She opened her messages and found the name, Jessica. She had it saved from the night before, when Michael's phone lit up on the restaurant table like a billboard. She had memorized the number even while she smiled through the humiliation. She typed one sentence. Coffee today. Woman to woman. She added an address, a small cafe in West Hollywood, with good lighting and quiet corners. She hit send. The 3 dots came fast. Sure. Noon? Noon is perfect, Samantha wrote. Just us. She set the phone down and poured a cup. She added a splash of cream and a half-moving swirl of sugar. The sweetness didn't change anything, but it gave her hands something to do. Upstairs, a door opened. Michael came into the kitchen with sleepy eyes and a puffed-up ego that hadn't deflated overnight. He looked at her like she was a receptionist. Morning, he said, reaching for the mug she had already placed on the counter. She didn't hand it to him. She slid the mug away and poured him a fresh one, then set it down without looking at him. Plans today? He asked, pretending to stretch, pretending last night was normal. Yes, she said. He waited for more, then realized there wasn't more for him. He gave a little laugh, like he needed the sound to fill the room. Listen, about last... She stopped him with just a look. Calm, cold, final. I have a meeting, she said softly. It's not with you. He swallowed whatever speech he had prepared and walked out. The front door clicked shut. The quiet came back. Samantha finished her coffee and went to the Home Office. She opened the drawer where she kept files. She pulled out a thin stack, car titles, mortgage statements, credit card bills, a printout of the last 6 months of spending. She added 2 crisp copies of a budget she had made years ago, back when marriage felt like a plan and not a problem to solve every day. She slid everything into a slim leather folder. She picked up her keys. She didn't look back at the house as she left. She knew what it cost to keep it standing. She knew who paid for every nail in it. By noon, she was sitting at a table by a window at 5th and Pine, a cafe with big plants and bigger muffins. The door chimed. Jessica walked in wearing sunglasses inside, as if the room needed to know she was important. Her red dress from last night was gone, replaced by a cream blouse tucked into jeans. Casual, but not humble. Jessica took off the sunglasses and scanned the room like a performer looking for her mark. She spotted Samantha and smiled as if the night before had been a little prank. "Hi, Samantha," she said with that smooth tone. "You look rested." Samantha stood, offered a polite nod, and sat again. "Coffee?" she asked. Jessica slid into the chair across from her. "I'll have a latte," she told the server, who drifted over as if on cue. Then to Samantha she said, "So, you wanted to talk about Michael?" Samantha folded her hands on the table. No rings today. Just a clean line where the diamond had sat last night. "Yes," she said. "I want to talk woman to woman." Jessica leaned back, as if that phrase amused her. "Sure, but if this is going to be emotional, let's not. I don't do tears." "There won't be any tears," Samantha said. "Just facts." The server set down the latte. The foam had a heart in it. Jessica smirked at the foam, then at Samantha, like both were made to please her. Samantha opened the leather folder. The sound of paper sliding against paper was soft, like a whisper. "First fact," she said. "Michael's lifestyle, the house, the cars, the dinners, the suits. It's paid for by me." Jessica blinked once, then twice. Then she laughed, quick and light. "You mean your money is our problem? Don't be upset because he wanted something new." "This isn't about something new," Samantha said simply. "It's about something true." She slid the first page across the table. A mortgage statement, the name Samantha Ellis at the top, the balance, the payment, the signature on the original, all hers. Jessica glanced at it, lips tight. "Okay, you pay the house note. So what? Lots of wives do." Samantha pushed another page. The car titles. Samantha Ellis, owner. Michael Ellis, driver only. The sports car Michael liked to show off? Not his. Never his. Jessica's eyes lowered, then rose. She tried to look bored. "He told me he was doing well. Investments. Consulting." "His investments are my investments," Samantha said. "His consulting income? Small. The rest?" She tapped the page. She slid over a printout of a credit card balance, then a second, then a third. Hotels, restaurants, custom suits, weekends labeled conference but clustered around Palm Springs and Santa Barbara. The numbers were neat, printed in a font that didn't care who was ashamed. Jessica sipped her latte. Her hand wasn't shaking, but she held the cup a little too tight. "This is tacky," she said. "You brought receipts like a detective. What do you expect me to do with this? Say sorry. That's not my style." Samantha's tone stayed even. "I don't need your apology. I need your attention." Jessica tilted her head. "Okay, I'm listening." "Here's what's going to happen," Samantha said. "I'm not going to fight you in public. I'm not going to scream your name across social media. I won't throw a drink in your face. The world does not need that show." "Good," Jessica said, forcing a laugh, "because I don't do shows for free." Samantha gave the hint of a smile. "You've never done anything for free," Jessica frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," Samantha said, sliding the last page toward her, "that when the money you've been enjoying stops, you will finally get a clear look at Michael. No lighting, no filters, just the man." Jessica looked down. The last page was a simple list of recurring payments. Health insurance, car insurance, Michael's business line, his gym membership, the storage unit he rented for equipment he never used. Every one of them had one thing in common: paid by Samantha Ellis. Jessica let out a slow breath. Why are you showing me this? So that when he promises you the world, Samantha said, you understand he's selling a house he doesn't own. Jessica's eyes flashed. Let me guess. This is the part where you tell me to back off. No, Samantha said softly. This is the part where I tell you that you can have him if you can afford him. Jessica stared. The cafe noise seemed to drop a level. Even the espresso machine sounded far away. You think I can't take care of a man? Jessica said, chin lifting. Samantha kept her voice gentle, almost kind. I think you don't know what it costs. Jessica leaned forward now, a small edge in her voice. Look at me. Do I look like a woman who worries about bills? Please? Samantha didn't flinch. Everybody worries about bills when they arrive with interest. Jessica smiled again, but it was tight and careful. You know what I think? I think you're scared. I think you see that he wants me, and it makes you small. Samantha shook her head once. Number last night made me small. Today I'm standing up. Jessica tapped a fingernail against the coffee cup. The sound ticked like a metronome. So what now, Samantha? You shut off the money and think he crawls back? Samantha lifted the folder and slipped the papers back inside. I don't think anything. I'm done managing outcomes for people who don't respect me. They sat in silence for a beat. Outside, a woman walked her dog past the window, the leash a bright blue line against the sidewalk. Life kept going. It always does. Jessica broke the silence. He tells me you keep him on a leash, she said. That you control every little thing. That you make him feel like a child. Samantha looked her in the eyes. Children earn trust by telling the truth. Michael likes toys more than truth. Jessica's mouth quirked. You're good with words. I'm better with numbers. Jessica's laugh this time was real, quick and warm against her will. She caught herself and leaned back again. So you want me to be… what? Grateful? Afraid? I want you to be informed, Samantha said. You walked into a restaurant last night like the star of a show, but the stage lights are paid for by someone else. Jessica rolled her eyes. You and these metaphors. Samantha stood. She placed a small card on the table. It had her name and number in neat black print. If you ever want to talk without the performance, she said, call me. Jessica eyed the card. You think I'm going to team up with you? I think you're smart, Samantha said, and I think there are things you don't know yet. Jessica's gaze sharpened. Like what? Samantha lifted the folder against her hip. Like why the card companies keep calling when he's with you. Like who he was with on the nights he told you he was with me. Like the bet he keeps losing. Jessica's chin tipped. Bet? Samantha paused. She let the words sit between them, heavy and tempting. Then she smiled, small and sure. Call me when the shine wears off, she said. It always does. She turned to go. Wait, Jessica said. Samantha stopped, but didn't turn back. Why are you… calm? Jessica asked. Most women would have, I don't know, thrown something, made a scene. Samantha faced her again. Because scenes end, consequences don't. Jessica looked down at the card. She picked it up and flipped it once, twice, like it might change into something else if she stared hard enough. He said you'd beg me to leave him. Samantha's eyes were steady. He was wrong. She stepped away from the table and walked to the door. The cafe felt cooler as she moved. She pushed it open and the bell chimed again. The same small sound as when Jessica came in, but different now. Clearer. Outside, the city heat wrapped around her. She took a breath that went all the way down. She didn't feel light yet, but she felt aligned, and that was better. Her phone buzzed, a text from Michael. We need to talk. Tonight. She locked the screen without replying. Another buzz. A new text. Unknown number, but she knew who it was. He just asked me to go away with him this weekend. Palm Springs. Says he'll handle everything. Samantha stopped on the sidewalk. She typed back 3 words. Ask who pays. No smiley, no extra. Just the truth. Simple and clean. She put the phone in her bag and walked to her car. The leather was warm under her hands. When she opened the door, she slid in, closed it softly, and let the quiet sit with her for a moment. In the rearview mirror, she saw her own eyes looking back. Tired, yes, but not broken. She started the engine and pulled out into traffic. Across town, in a small boutique hotel where the staff knew Michael by his first name, Jessica stood in her room, holding her phone like it might bite. She replayed the conversation in her head, flipping through each line, each page Samantha had shown her. It felt like she'd been looking in a mirror that someone finally cleaned. Her phone buzzed again. Michael. Book the suite. I'll reimburse you. She stared at the message. Reimburse. It was a small word, but it landed with a thud. She set the phone down and stared at the ceiling for a long beat. Then she picked it up and typed, Which card are we using? There was a pause. Then another. Then, Use yours. I'll pay you back. She didn't reply. She went to the window and pulled the curtain. The city looked different at noon than it did at night. No glitter, just concrete and heat. Her phone chimed again. Another message from Michael. Babe? She let it sit. She walked back to the bed and picked up Samantha's card from the nightstand where she had dropped it like a dare. She ran a thumb over the black letters. For a moment, her reflection in the card's glossy finish looked strange, like someone else's face. She set the card down, but not back on the nightstand. She slid it into her wallet. On the other side of the city, Samantha parked in front of her office building. She didn't go inside yet. She sat in the car and opened the leather folder again. She checked the notes she'd made beside each account. She drew a small star next to one of them. Business Amex. Cancel authorized users. Her pen hovered. She thought of Jessica's face when the word bet dropped between them. She thought of Michael's smirk and how small it had looked in daylight. Then she capped the pen and closed the folder. Her phone buzzed once more. A final text slid across the screen. Unknown number. If we talk, it has to be real. No drama. Samantha tapped a quick reply. Real is all I have. She got out of the car and walked toward the building. The glass doors opened with a soft hiss. The lobby was cool and quiet. She felt steady steps under her, one and then the next. The first sign of trouble came 2 days later. Jessica was sitting in the passenger seat of Michael's silver sports car, the one he loved to rev loud enough to wake the whole block. The sun was setting over Beverly Hills, the streets painted gold. She had her phone in her hand, scrolling through her banking app. Her brows furrowed. Michael, she said, her voice sharp. He was humming along to a song on the radio, tapping the wheel with his thumb. What's up, babe? My card just got declined, Jessica snapped. At Saks. I wasn't even buying anything crazy, just shoes. Michael gave a quick laugh like it was no big deal. Cards glitch sometimes. Try it again later. Jessica turned her head and stared at him. No, Michael. This isn't a glitch. My balance is low. You said you'd cover the weekend in Palm Springs. Where's the money? His smile faltered. For the first time, his voice wasn't smooth. Relax, Jess. I'll handle it. But Jessica heard something in his tone she hadn't before. Not confidence, not control, a crack. That same evening, Samantha sat at her dining room table, her laptop glowing against the dim light. She scrolled through account after account, clicking disable, freeze, cancel. Each click was small, but it echoed like footsteps in a quiet hallway. Her hand didn't shake. Her face didn't twist with anger. She looked calm, collected, almost businesslike. The joint accounts were hers by name, his only by access. And access could be shut off with a few strokes of a keyboard. Click. His Amex. Frozen. Click. The joint. Visa. Suspended. Click. Business line of credit. Notifications redirected to her alone. When she was done, she leaned back in her chair, exhaled, and sipped her tea. Michael had humiliated her in public. Now she would humiliate him in private, in the ways that mattered most. The next morning, Michael stormed into the kitchen holding his phone like it had betrayed him. "Sam," he said, his voice tight. "Why are my cards being declined?" Samantha didn't look up from her coffee. She stirred it slowly, calm as ever. "Because they're mine." His jaw tightened. "They're ours. Marriage means ours." She lifted her eyes, meeting his. "Marriage means respect, Michael. Respect means not parading another woman in front of me at a restaurant." His face flushed. "So you're punishing me? Overreacting? Grow up, Sam. You can't cut me off like this." "I can," she said softly. "And I have." The room went quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Michael's nostrils flared. He was used to shouting his way through problems, but Samantha wasn't giving him anything to fight with. She was still, and stillness scared him. Finally, he spat out, "You'll regret this." Samantha tilted her head, voice calm as a blade. "Not as much as you will." Across town, Jessica was starting to feel the squeeze. She had gone back to that cafe card, the one with Samantha's neat black print. She had stared at it more times than she wanted to admit. Samantha's words kept replaying. "You can have him if you can afford him." The shine was dimming. Michael had promised her Palm Springs. Instead, he was pacing her tiny apartment, muttering about bank errors and timing issues. He promised it was temporary. He promised it was nothing. But when she pressed him, when she asked why Samantha's name kept showing up on every bill, he snapped. "Don't start sounding like her," he barked. "You're supposed to be on my side." Jessica flinched. "Your side? Michael, I didn't sign up to babysit your mess. You told me you had your life together." "I do," he insisted. But his eyes darted, his hands rubbed together, his voice cracked. And for the first time, Jessica wondered if Samantha had been right all along. Meanwhile, Samantha made her next move. She sat in her lawyer's office, papers spread across a polished wooden desk. Divorce wasn't the word she used. Not yet. Instead, she asked about separation of assets, about controlling liability. The lawyer nodded, took notes, asked careful questions. Samantha answered each one with precision. No tears, no rambling, just facts. By the end of the meeting, the lawyer leaned back and said, "You've already done most of the work yourself. You know exactly where he stands." Samantha smiled faintly. "Yes," she said, "and soon he will too." That night, Michael tried to play his old game. He came home late, smelling of whiskey and cheap cologne. He swaggered into the bedroom where Samantha was reading, pretending confidence he didn't feel. "You know," he said, unbuttoning his shirt, "Jessica isn't rattled by this little stunt. She knows I'll bounce back. She knows I'm still the man." Samantha closed her book slowly. She looked up at him with a calm, steady gaze. "Is that what she thinks?" she asked. Michael frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Samantha set the book aside. "It means she's starting to see you the way I do. Without the shine. Without the props." His face twisted. "You're jealous. That's all this is. You're scared of losing me." She laughed softly, a sound with no warmth. "Michael, I lost you the minute you invited another woman to sit beside you like a queen while you mocked me in public. What I'm doing now isn't about losing you. It's about reminding both of you who keeps the lights on." He opened his mouth, but no words came. For once, Michael Ellis had nothing to say. The next day, Jessica's patience cracked. They sat together in her apartment, the air heavy with silence. She turned to him and asked flatly, "Why don't you ever pay for anything? Why is her name everywhere?" Michael rubbed his face. "Jessica, listen, Sam controls the accounts, but it's temporary. She's bitter. She'll come around." Jessica's eyes narrowed. "So you're telling me you don't actually own anything?" "Of course I own things," he snapped. "My car." "Her name's on the title," Jessica cut in. He froze. Her voice grew sharper. "The condo, the dinners, even the trip you promised me? All her?" Michael's face reddened. "It's complicated." Jessica laughed bitterly. "No, Michael, It's simple. You're broke without her. He slammed his fist against the table. Don't talk to me like that. But Jessica didn't flinch. Her mind was already spinning, piecing together the truth Samantha had laid out in neat papers at that cafe. The truth Michael couldn't spin away. The shine was gone. All that remained was a man exposed. At home, Samantha stood by the window, sipping her tea. Outside, the city lights flickered like stars trapped on Earth. She watched them without smiling. Her phone buzzed. A new message. Jessica. You were right. He's not who I thought he was. Samantha typed back slowly. He never was. Another message came, quick this time. So, what now? Samantha set her tea down. She looked at the reflection of her own face in the glass. Calm, collected, ready. Now, she wrote, we let him show the world who he really is. And with that, the stage was set for the final act. Because Michael Ellis thought the game was about love, or ego, or even betrayal. But Samantha knew better. The real game was about power, and the power had already shifted.